Thank you, Mr. Speaker and lady from Campbell 67. During the 2021 regular session, as was just mentioned, SB 80 was passed as a police reform bill that amended the same statute that is the subject of House Bill 206. Senate Bill 80 passed without any negative vote, in part because it had the support of Kentucky's law enforcement community. During floor debates on Senate Bill 80 in both the House and the Senate last year, an important concept was repeated by several legislators, and it was that police reform, to be the most effective it can be, needs law enforcement officers at the center of the effort, because no one has a greater interest in making sure that their profession weeds out bad actors than those men and women who are out there seeking to do the right thing for those that serve. I particularly remember that as he presented Senate Bill 80, the bill's sponsor in the Senate said, "No one hates a bad cop more than a good cop." And it's in this very context that I learned about the need for this legislation that accomplishes what House Bill 206 is designed to do. Specifically, I learned about a problem that when a police officer who had moved into my county told me that existing law in the Commonwealth does not require the decertification of a police officer who is convicted of a misdemeanor sex crime against children, even if those crimes were originally charged as felonies and pled down to misdemeanors. At first, when my constituent started telling me about this, I thought he was wrong. I listened in disbelief and could not believe that the Commonwealth had laws that would allow a convicted sex offender to still hold a job as a uniformed police officer. As I listened to my constituent express his disgust at knowing a fellow police officer who had been pled guilty of being a misdemeanor child sex offender after being charged with felony child rape, I realized that I was hearing a police officer, a good cop, who hated knowing that a bad cop was still in uniform. I realized I was listening to a former law enforcement officer. He had retired, but he wanted to have me help him fix a problem to defend our children, as well as the integrity of the profession he had dedicated his life to. So, last year, we talked about Senate Bill 80 being recognized as a step in the right direction. HB 206 is a further step, necessary step in the same direction, in the same right direction, led in part, again, by a police officer who asked me to sponsor this legislation. This is a good bill, and again, a necessary bill, and I urge all members of this body to vote yes on this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.